Welcome to the Dynasty Dugout Show, a podcast covering all things minor league baseball. Get a front row seat to the action with everything you need to know about the future stars of Major League Baseball. And now, here's your host, Clegg.
Well, good morning and welcome to another edition of the Dynasty Dugout Show. Today is Wednesday, November the 6th. We are going to continue to talk about the Arizona Fall League, all my looks out there. Again, this is just a live look breakdown of what I saw, not really focused on the numbers, albeit some players have performed really well, but I really just want to focus in on the live look aspect, how players looked, how we can kind of take it moving forward. So that's what we're going to talk about. Yesterday, we talked about the Glendale Desert Dogs, very talented team full of pitching and hitting. Today, the Mesa Solar Sox, not quite the level of that team, but there are certainly some players to talk about. Some interesting arms, not a ton of big name arms, but there are some that I actually really like. So we're going to talk about several of those. And then the hitters, where there are some more fun options. As always, be sure to subscribe to the dynastydugout.com. Get daily Arizona Fall League reports. We are going through our top 30s for every system. We are about halfway done with the Pirates system as recording this. That should be published tomorrow, Thursday, November the 7th. Top 30 Pirates prospects. A lot of intrigue in that system, so a lot to like there. But we're here to talk about Mesa, Solar Sox, the AFL. Let's get to it. The pitching side, not a lot, as I mentioned, and there's some kind of interesting guys. The first one I want to mention is Samy Natera Jr. Now, Natera is one of the older pitchers, one of the older players in the league for that matter. He just turned 25 yesterday, so happy birthday, Sammy. He is a left-hander from the Los Angeles Angels system, 6'4", 225-pound frame. Looking at Natera, it's interesting. He has pitched extremely well in the Fall League. I know stats don't necessarily matter all that much, but in a hitter-friendly environment, he's tossed 10 innings. He's allowed just one earned run, 5 hits, 3 walks, and 13 strikeouts. Now, this follows up a season in which he didn't pitch all that much. He was hurt for a lot of the year. But in 2023, I actually thought Natera was a pretty interesting arm to know. You know, he spent the year in Tri-City, which is high A, and then spent some time in Double A as well to end the year. The results on the surface didn't look great, but Natera has some interesting stuff. Beck saw him yesterday, wrote him up. It's a high-riding fastball, sitting 92 to 94 miles an hour. He topped out at 96 in the game on Monday of this week. He has a really good slider. He throws that 81 to 83. It's got some sweeping action to it. You know, he's really devastating against left-handed batters with that pitch. Changeup, really good against righties as well. It's a low to mid-80s, 83 to 85 mile an hour pitch with good fading action. You know, you look at this pitcher in Samy Natera, and this is exactly what we need to see from an arm like this. Miss significant time, comes back, and all of a sudden, he looks like the guy that I once thought he could be at least. And it's like, okay, maybe there's some intrigue here with Natera. It's a deeper league name. Again, he's a 25-year-old pitching prospect. I tend to not look as much at age with pitching prospects, but I do think that this is a pretty intriguing pitcher and one that you should keep an eye on. The next guy is a Chicago Cubs pitcher, and that's Luis Rujano. That's spelled Rujano. Rujano is another guy that, yeah, he's a bigger frame, 6'4", 200-pound, right-handed pitcher. So he's got the frame. He's 21 years old, so kind of the opposite end of the spectrum as from Natera, at least. He spent the year in Myrtle Beach, which is single A for the Chicago Cubs. The results, not necessarily that good. You know, he made 7 starts, pitched in 20 games, 53 innings, so it's not like he's thrown a ton of innings. It's kind of a low mileage arm. He was a former 13th rounder in the 2022 draft from Sunshine Elite Academy. That's in Florida, so prep guy. I look at Luis Rujano, and I'm actually kind of interested in what he brings to the table. He's had a pretty good fall league so far. He's had a 3.86 ERA. Again, I told you stats don't matter all that much. Just giving you the context of what he's done. He's thrown 7 innings, allowed 4 hits, 5 walks, and 11 strikeouts. Now, Rujano does have some pretty interesting whiff stuff. He can get you with a couple different pitches. I look at the arsenal. When I saw him, I came away pretty impressed. He shows a good slider, good fastball. He'll mix a changeup on occasion. So as I watch Rujano, I think that he's someone that's not talked about enough. And when I did my Cubs top 30, I probably didn't give him the respect that he deserves, just given the fact that I didn't really dig in all that deep on him, given the fact of what we saw in Myrtle Beach. I actually did see him pitch early in the year too, when I spent a week in Myrtle Beach. But that slider, long sweeping action, it's a good pitch. I think there's certainly some intrigue there with the slider. I think the fastball is a pitch that can play. He gives it a little running action, especially running away from left-handed hitters. He can locate it up well as in the zone, which is an encouraging sign. I don't know. I think that Rujano is certainly somebody to watch. I think that he could be an arm that, flies under the radar. I'm not saying that he's going to pop off and be a stud by any means, but I do think he's an interesting arm to watch. Now, the pitchers here, certainly not as exciting, but let's talk about the hitters because they do have some more exciting guys. Starting with the catcher, Moises Ballesteros. Obviously, Mo Baller can hit. There's no denying that. Mo Baller is a hitter. He's a professional hitter. He makes a ton of contact. He has at every point in his career. And he's got some pop, too. Now, you look at the frame, it's interesting. I know there's been a lot of talk about that. He is extremely well built, especially the lower half. He's shorter, listed 5'8", probably accurate. 5'7", 5'8" is what I'd give him as someone that's 5'8", 5'9" myself. But Ballesteros can hit. Can he catch is the question. He's allowed a lot of stolen bases out there this year. I've got a couple pop times on him around the 2.0 range, which is fine. I mean, we're talking about a fairly young guy. He is 20 years old. He'll turn 21 later this week. So you may be listening to this, and he might already be 21. But he's a thick, short build. It's not going to work at first base. And he would be the shortest first baseman in MLB history, at least in the modern era. No clue what first basemen were like way back in the day. But I wonder if he might be a DH type bat. A lot of pressure on that. You hope that he can catch enough where he keeps eligibility for fantasy purposes. But Ballesteros can hit. No denying that. Saw him show some big juice. Saw him show the ability to hit the ball to all fields, make a lot of contact. He's walked as much as he struck out in the AFL, running really good contact rates, showing decent exit velocities. So kind of checking those boxes. But again, I really wonder if he'll catch long-term. I think that's the question, the million-dollar question. You just hope that he can be a backup catcher that hits enough to play DH every other day of the week. So Ballesteros, nothing new on him. That's kind of everything you expected to see from him. Xavier Isaac's one that I've seen a lot dating back to after his draft year. I saw him when he was in single A with Charleston. Saw him a ton this year with Bowling Green and seeing him again this year in the fall league. Now, it's interesting because Isaac is working in the outfield some. It's really interesting to watch. He's athletic. There's no denying that. I think that I had reported the body was much better. I think Bowling Green was actually in Greenville the second week or the first full week of the season. His body's really good. He's probably 6'4". He is very athletic. He moves well. He hits for power. He checks all the boxes of kind of what you want to see, especially from a guy who had questions coming out of high school. Would the frame work? And, now looking at him, his athleticism's there. He's not a fast runner, but he's an average runner. Working out in right field, I don't see it. It didn't look great. He's a first baseman, most likely. The bat's interesting. He showed some major struggles after the injury, a wrist injury in the middle of the year, he went to Double-A. He struck out way too much. I kind of question, would he make enough contact? I think his overall contact was 60% this year, and it was like 69, 68% end zone. Those numbers aren't great. Good news is Isaac doesn't chase, and he has massive, massive power. So he's come out to the fall league. I saw him wear a wrist brace a couple times. I'm not sure why he'd be playing if he was still hurt. It's also concerning to me that we're going on 5+ months of this wrist injury at this point. I'm certainly concerned that it could be something that maybe it is a lingering injury for him. Hopefully, the fall league ends next week. Hopefully Isaac just rests and he's okay. But I'd be lying to you if I said I wasn't concerned by him still having a brace on. Isaac has shown major contact questions again in the AFL. He's made contact on 45% of the pitches that he swung at. That's a major issue, especially considering how the quality of pitching is. And he struck out in over 40% of plate appearances in the fall league. Now, if he's not healthy, this makes a lot more sense. It would make a ton of sense if the wrist is still hurt. But the power numbers are there. So that's the weird thing to me. The power numbers were there in the regular season after the injury, and they're still there right now in the AFL. He's hit a ball up to 116. He's ran several over 110. It's exactly what we saw from him during the 2024 regular season, even after that wrist injury. I don't know. I'm at a bit of a loss with Isaac right now. It's become a weird profile, and I think you have to really question the contact at this point. I mentioned in the Dugout Discord, I wouldn't fault anybody for taking Josue Briseño over him. Both are first basemen. Both have those big builds. Briseño's looked much better at the plate. And seeing Isaac a lot, obviously the power's a lot of fun, but just the contact, the inconsistencies with contact have not been there.
Men, if you've lost your hair, it doesn't mean you can't find it again. Try Hims Hair Loss Solutions and you'll be joining hundreds of thousands of subscribers who found their hair again. It can be hard for men to deal with hair loss, even though it is common. Luckily, I'm here to provide you with a solution so you don't even have to talk about it. Through Hims, you can restore your hair by accessing their personalized hair loss solutions. Men value many different things about their appearance, but if you're a guy who really cares about your hair and find that it's slowly going away, you might be feeling discouraged when you look in the mirror. And that's where Hims comes in. Check out their personalized hair loss solutions, and you can start seeing your hair grow back in as little as 3 to 6 months. Hims provides you with convenient access to a range of hair loss treatments that work, all from the comfort of your couch. Hims makes treating hair loss simple with doctor-trusted options and clinically proven ingredients, like finasteride and minoxidil that can regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months. Choose from personalized chewable, oral, spray, and serum treatments to find what works best for you. The process is simple and 100% online, so there are no uncomfortable doctor visits. Answer a few questions, and a medical provider will determine if treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your treatment is sent directly to you for free. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. Hims has hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers. And they can help you get your confidence back too with visibly thicker and fuller hair. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/Hail Mary. That's HIMS.com/Hail Mary for your personalized hair loss treatment options. hims.com/Hail Mary. Results may vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information.
Work takes up most of your time. That's why you should use Stamps.com to save time with your mailing and shipping, and have flexibility to focus on more important things. Stamps.com can handle all your mailing and shipping needs with rates up to 88% off USPS and UPS. Add flexibility to your day with Stamps.com. Go to Stamps.com/program to sign up for a special offer. No contract, cancel anytime. That's Stamps.com/program.
Now, on the flip side, this guy does make a ton of contact. Another first baseman on this team, Nick Kurtz, who joined the team late. Kurtz is a hitter. Now, Kurt's quality of contact was inconsistent in my looks last week. He rolled over some balls, but he also hit a mammoth Hoppo Field home run, which was a ton of fun to see. Kurtz is interesting. You go sit on the open side and look at his swing. It's an interesting leg kick. He kind of like bends at his hip. He doesn't really like bend his knee for a leg kick. He kind of like uses his hip and like just lifts the leg without, I don't know, it's bizarre. Just go watch the video and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Kurtz is a professional hitter though. One of the better, underlying data guys from the college ranks in 2024 draft. Talking high-end contact rates, like up there with Bazana and Witherholt, chase rates right there with them. And we're looking at power numbers that are reminiscent of like the Jack Caglions, the best power hitters in the class. So when you combine all that, Kurtz is a hitter. No denying that. He's hit well in the fall league. Should be no surprise. He's shown good plate discipline. Again, no surprise there. He's a big frame. He's got a good swing. He just drives the barrel to the ball. He does a lot of things extremely well. I think I would take Kurtz number 3 in FYPD. I think you could argue for him similar to Witherholt, just where kind of my thoughts are at this point. Kurtz had a dominant pro debut. He made it to Double-A. 12 games he got hurt. Injuries have kind of been the story of Kurtz's career at this point. So I think you have to kind of factor that in with Nick Kurtz, but it's a really fun profile for sure. Another guy in this infield who I really like a lot is Jonathon Long, Cubs third baseman. He had a really good year, really kind of underrated. He's kind of picked up some more steam throughout the offseason. But Jonathon Long, he did some really good things in my looks. His swing gets a little long at times, kind of fitting for his last name. But when he makes contact, he does damage. Now, Long's data this year, really, really solid. When you look at this profile, it's one that he's not going to like stand out in a huge way as far as, like contact. But he made enough contact and he hits the ball hard enough where I think there's some intrigue here. The contact rates in the AFL have been very kind of reminiscent of the hitter that he was throughout the minors. And we're talking about a third baseman who jumped from high to Double-A, split time pretty equally between both in the regular season, hit 17 home runs, he had 21 doubles, and he hit 283 with a near 400 OBP. Long's contact rates, as I mentioned, kind of looking at those, they're decent. He pulls the ball at kind of a lower rate than you'd like to see. If that improves and he gets the ball in the air more, this could be a 25 home run bat. I mean, we're looking at a 105 mile an hour, 9th percentile EV during the regular season. Those are good marks. He hit the ball hard in my looks as well. Now, Long also showed a little bit of swing and miss. He has struck out 17 times so far in 70 trips to the plate, so 24% strikeout rate in the AFL, higher than you want to see. But I do think the contact rates are right there with what we've seen. So Long is somebody that I'm investing in. I think he's still kind of undervalued a bit. And he's somebody that you can probably, get for cheap and return value. He probably starts the year in Double, jumps to Triple-A. Again, he will turn 23 before next season. But the 9th rounder from California State University, or Long Beach, I guess, he's somebody that I'm looking to invest in. Really good player. Really good hitter at that. Now, this guy, Denzel Clarke, athlete. That's what he is. He's an athlete. Now, in the field, Denzel made incredible plays. Very good reads in center field, good jumps. He tracked down balls that you wouldn't expect most people to get to. Just looks very natural in center field. Love to see that. He's also hitting the ball extremely well. His stance is interesting. It looks highly uncomfortable at the plate. He's kind of in a squat position. He leans back, like his spine's kind of arched back a little bit. It looks uncomfortable to me, but Clarke makes it work. He has made decent contact. His contact rates actually improved throughout the regular season. It was kind of a scary range to begin the year. He was running a contact rate around 64% for the first 2 months and then After that, kind of sit around 74%. So obviously you like to see that. He has hit well for Mesa this fall. Has a 500 OBP. He's taking his walks. He's limiting the strikeouts. He's making enough contact, which I think is encouraging. It's always going to be a guy that's certainly hit tool lags behind, but I do think the performance and the other tools can outweigh that because you are looking at really good center fielder, good speed, and good power. Now, I also saw some non-competitive at-bats from Clarke where he just looked exhausted. I mean, we're talking he had a full year, 116 games in AA, and he got sent to the Fall League. A lot of guys are tired out here. And he had some at-bats where, especially, there was a game that I set up at Mesa where it was a near 4-hour game. And towards the end of that game, he looked checked out, as did a lot of guys. So couldn't fault him for that. Obviously, you want to see, a guy like any guy that's in the AFL or just play in the game at a professional level, give 100% every time up, every play, but just is what it is. So Clarke is pushing towards my top 100. Athlete, makes enough contact. Like, this is not like a Henry Bolt situation where he doesn't make enough contact at all and he strikes out way too much. Clarke's a player. I think that he is legit. Let's round it out with maybe the best hitter in the Fall League, and that's Tre Morgan. Now, I've seen Tre Morgan a good bit, dating back to his days at LSU, then in Single A with Charleston, and then at High A with Bowling Green, and now in the Fall League. Morgan is the best hitter in the AFL. No question in my mind. Now, does that mean that he's a huge power bat? Does that mean he's a huge fantasy asset? No. But Morgan is going to put the bat on the ball every single time he gets to the plate. He rarely strikes out. I mean, during the 2024 regular season, he walked as much as he struck out. That was 48 times each. That's a pretty impressive mark when you're walking as much as you strike out, and it's just a 10.9% strikeout rate. Contact rates, really good with Tre Morgan. He's a guy that he's not going to try to do too much of the plate. He's going to take his pitches. He's going to hit it where it's pitched, and he's going to do damage to all fields, whether it's slapping it out the opposite way to left, whether it's putting it on the ground into a gap. Morgan does it all. He checks all the boxes you want to see from a professional hitter. He has one of the best two-strike approaches that you'll see. He gets really wide. He chokes up about 4 inches on the bat, it seems, and he's just going to put the barrel on the ball no matter the outcome. He is not going to strike out. And that's exactly what we've seen. He has 8 doubles in the AFL, a triple, and a home run. What I think's impressed me the most, we know Morgan's a great fielding first baseman, but Morgan has played a tremendous left field. Saw a lot of balls hit to Tre Morgan in left. There was only one that he really missed, and it was a sliding attempt that he just missed, ended up kind of bouncing by off the wall. I think it ended up being a triple. But Morgan made some great plays. He had some great reads and got to balls that, honestly, I didn't think that he would. His clock times are average at best, but he's going to give you 110% every single time out. I think Tre Morgan is probably a 10 to 12 home run bat. You look at the total this year, he had 10 and 437 plate appearances, but I was at several of those where he homered, and I won't say they're cheap shots, but, you look, and one of them was in Asheville. He hit a fly ball, and right field out there's 290. He had another one at the short porch in Greenville. I like Tre Morgan a lot. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a much better real-life player than a fantasy asset. I think he's probably like a 10 to 12 home run bat that can steal you 5 to 8 bases. He's going to hit for average. He's going to get on base. But the expectations for fantasy should be tempered. Great real-life asset, though. I think he's going to work his way into being an everyday player with the Rays. I've seen him enough to feel comfortable saying that. That's hard to do. Maybe he platoons, but I just don't really have those concerns, even though it is the Rays. The Rays are going to be that team that always platoons guys. During the regular season, Morgan did have some struggles against lefties, just a 521 OPS, but he hit 357 against righties with a 973 OPS. So maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. But Morgan's a great hitter. He's just a pure hitter at that. It's a old-fashioned approach, which is actually kind of refreshing to watch in today's game. So Morgan stands out as one of the best players in the AFL, in my opinion. That's Mesa. Again, not as much depth as the team with Glendale, but we'll keep walking through each team every day. This was a fun team to talk about, some players to note, and hopefully a quick bite-sized episode that you'll enjoy. Again, thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you'll like and subscribe, like the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast. I'm putting out more film. I've got a ton more film from the AFL. I'll play video on every player. We have, between Beck and I, going to get about 2 weeks, I think 24 games worth of film. So we will easily get every player. That's an awesome thing. So I'm excited about that. It was an awesome time. Thanks to Beck for still being out there, getting some more looks. And as we wrap up the Fall League, we'll wrap up that coverage, and then it's on. We will continue the team-by-team top 30s, which we're grinding on. I think we've got 10 of those done so far. Pirates are up next. It's going to be a good ride this offseason. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you all have a wonderful day.
Work takes up most of your time. That's why you should use Stamps.com to save time with your mailing and shipping. Stamps.com will simplify your postage needs and add valuable time back into your workday, so you have flexibility to focus on more important things. Stamps.com can handle your mailing and shipping needs with rates up to 88% off UPS and USPS. Send invoices, checks, certified mail, packages, and anything else you need to keep your business running with Stamps.com. If you sell online, connecting with every major marketplace and shopping cart is easy. Plus, you can schedule package pickups through their dashboard and automatically see your cheapest and fastest shipping options from different carriers with Stamps.com's Rate Advisor. Add more flexibility to your workday with Stamps.com. Go to Stamps.com/program to sign up for a special offer. No contract, cancel anytime. That's Stamps.com/program.